Eurozone GDP data for the third quarter has been released today, and as many predicted, the growth has slowed down to 0.1%. Joining me on the line to discuss these results is Maxime Alimi from AXA. Now Maxime, if we can start by talking about Germany, the Eurozone's largest economy, we have seen in the third quarter GDP growth slow down to 0.3% from 0.7% the previous 3 months. What can this be attributed to?
Well, I think it was a pretty interesting report. Yes, so growth kind of slowed down in the third quarter in Germany, but I think it was also a good illustration of an important shift in the drivers of growth going forward in Germany. So far it was mostly on one leg, which is exports, and now what we're starting to see and what we expect to continue is Germany walking on two legs, if you like, which is external sector, but also domestic demand. And what we've seen in the third quarter is really that exports have been weak, pretty soft actually, but there was some pretty good resilience from domestic demand, especially private consumption and business investment. And this is really the reason why we have a pretty bullish view on Germany going forward. We expect GDP growth for next year around 2%, which is, I think, above consensus. And today was a pretty good illustration of that.
Okay, and we have also seen that in both Italy and France, economies have shrunk by 0.1%. Can this be attributed to the current strength of the euro, or are there other factors?
Yeah, actually, I don't really think that there was much to do with the currency in these readings this morning. I think for the euro to have a significant impact on the economy, you really need a large and persistent shock. And it is not exactly what we have today. I think what was really more at stake with France and Italy over the third quarter was that you have structurally slow growth in those countries, and this has to do with pretty high unemployment, high and rising actually, which is obviously weighing on private consumption. You have austerity in those countries, and you also have high uncertainty. So if you like, the private sector knows that things have to change in those countries, but given that nobody knows exactly what and when and how it will change, people are very cautious in spending. So that's true for households, and that's also true for companies, which are very cautious in hiring and investing.
Earlier today, the European Central Bank released their monthly bulletin, which further explained the rate cut. With this current slowdown in growth, can the ECB do anything more, or have they done all they can for now?
Well, I think central banks are mostly forward-looking, so what they do today is really trying to react to what's going to happen tomorrow. And as you know, the ECB only has an objective in terms of inflation, not growth. And I think the reason why they cut rates last week was really a reflection on current inflation, which is very low, but also the expectation that we're going to have a prolonged period of below target inflation. In terms of what they could do more, they have still many tools at their disposal. If you think in terms of cutting rates further, especially the deposit rate, they can do LTROs to help liquidity for the banks. They could strengthen forward guidance as well. And finally, they could start a plan to purchase assets like the Bank of England or the Fed. To me, I think they will not be willing to do much more than what they have done already, and I think the most likely, in my view, is for an additional LTRO in the course of next year, but I'm not expecting anything else in terms of rates or asset purchases.
And finally, is there any other data that has emerged today that you think is significant to the Eurozone?
Sure, yes. Actually, this morning we also had the release of the survey on access to finances for SMEs in the euro area. As you know, the credit crunch in the euro area is one of the main factors for the recession. And actually, the survey was pretty poor. It showed that actually the access to credit for SMEs deteriorated slightly again in the past 6 months. And I think this will really encourage the ECB to foster progress on the banking union and potentially also on securitization of SME ABS.
Maxime, thank you for talking to us today. That's all from me, but make sure you stay tuned to Dukascopy TV for more updates and exclusive interviews. Goodbye.